Your debit card has been locked. To reactivate it, please press 1 now.
This week, a warning about a rash of phone scams targeting your bank card by thieves trying to steal your personal information.
I instantly knew it was a scam.
As part of our Mountain Lake PBS Forum series, join us as we talk with banking and law enforcement experts about who's being targeted and how to protect yourself from becoming the victim of scammers.
You cannot be sure ever who's calling you.
Mountain Lake Journal on Mountain Lake PBS is made possible in part by
Northline Utilities creates employment and training opportunities for North Country residents with projects that build community and social infrastructure. We're family-focused and education-oriented. Power is our business and pride is our choice.
Knight Automotive, featuring a full selection of the entire Buick lineup in stock, and our world-class rated General Motors technician, Terry Relation, with 40 years of experience. Knight Automotive, Route 3, Plattsburgh.
CV Tech, did you know? Career and technical education is a pathway to college and careers. High school students and graduates can attend CV Tech. Students can earn state, national, and industry credentials and certifications. Financial aid is available. CV Tech will change your mind.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Mountain Lake Journal. I'm Tom Halleck. This week, as part of our ongoing forum series, we're focusing on phone scams here in the North Country. Many of you are now getting them almost on a daily basis. Text messages or automated calls that are phone scams, trying to trick you into buying something, scaring you into giving up personal information like bank card numbers or PIN numbers, or even threatening you into making payments for unpaid taxes or utility bills that the scammers want you to believe are overdue. Here's what some of those calls sound like.
Your debit card has been locked. To reactivate it, please press 1 now. Hello, my name is Anna Hicks, and I'm calling in...
Several banks, credit unions, and utilities have been targeted. It's prompted this warning from Plattsburgh Police on its Facebook page, an alert for everyone to watch out for these scams and know what to do if you get one. Bridget Brown was working at her desk at the town office in Willsboro when she got a call from a number she didn't recognize.
Yeah, I don't answer them. Most of them go to voicemail, and then I call back if I feel there's a need.
The caller left a message claiming to be from Champlain National Bank right across the street.
This is a message from Champlain National Bank. We regret to inform you that your debit card has been locked. To reactivate it, please press 1 now, and you will be transferred to our security department.
Bridget, who used to work at the bank, wasn't fooled for a moment.
No, I instantly knew it was a scam.
Many have also been getting text messages or automated calls that claim to be from utilities, including National Grid.
Hello, my name is Anna Hicks, and I'm calling in regards to your National Grid utility account that our system flagged for review. I see your account qualifies for pending discounts. Please call me back when you get this to apply your lower rates. You can reach me at 315-228-1116.
These calls and text messages have targeted thousands in the North Country. And with us now to talk about these scams, how to identify them and protect yourself, is Steve Cacchio, President and CEO of Champlain National Bank, headquartered in Willsboro, New York. And Glen Michaels is an Assistant Attorney General for New York State in charge of the Plattsburgh Regional Office. Thank you both for being here and joining us. Welcome.
Good to be here.
Steve, your bank has been targeted a couple of times in the past month.
We have. There's been two separate cases over probably the last 6 months or so, and they have targeted us and other institutions. But you know, since we're local, they use our name, and they're targeting this area.
Mostly text messages or robocalls or both?
We've had both. The first situation was actually a text message, and then the second time and most recent was actually a robocall.
And what do they say in the messages?
Most of the time they indicate that there is an issue with your debit card and to please respond to either the text or the phone call and they're looking for information.
And what kind of information will they then try to get out of your clients and your customers?
Most of the time they're asking for the card information. So they'll say that your card has been frozen. That's the way they normally get them to respond. And they ask for card information, PIN numbers, sometimes the CVV code, that security code that's on the back of the card, and most a 3-digit code. And they're asking for that information. In the most recent situation, they actually went on and asked for some other information, social security number, address, those type of things.
And do they tell the customers why they need the information?
To reactivate, to get the account back in good standing, or to get that card to work again. So that's why people respond.
And they're obviously trying to get account numbers, trying to get PIN numbers, trying to get social security numbers.
Yes, and then when they take that information, that card data, and then all of a sudden you see very quickly that they're using that. They either create cards or they're going online or doing other things, and then they very quickly use that information to try to access funds in the account. And we can see that happen very quickly, and then as soon as we see that, we're able to shut the card off. And that's why they do it so quickly, because they know the card will be shut down.
They know it's just a matter of time
Exactly.
before you're on to them. Do they turn around and make online purchases? Do they make the purchases, or do they sell the credit card information?
I think it's both. In some cases, you can see that the usage is in many different areas very quickly. In that case, you know they've actually sold the card data, and they're trying to get as many people to use it as they can.
They use the sense of urgency to try to get people to respond immediately. That's a ploy, obviously. Like you said, they need to get this information and use it quickly.
Right, and they by saying that there's an issue with the card or your account, that's what gets them to respond, and everyone's like, oh, there must be an issue, I should respond to this.
And do you have a number of customers that do respond and give out their information?
Fortunately, I think as people have gotten more accustomed to these type of scams, that it has gotten fewer and fewer, the people that actually respond. And in the most recent cases, it's actually both the texts and the phone calls, they went out to more than just our customers. They went out to a number of people that don't even have accounts with us, and they right away knew that there must be an issue.
Yeah, for most people that must be a red flag.
Exactly.
That I'm not a customer of Champlain National Bank. Why am I getting
receiving
this text?
this?
Glenn, one of the tricks scammers use, they try to get you to respond and do it quickly, think.
That's right. They want to alert you to a problem. There's a serious problem. It could be your bank card is frozen, the IRS wants to put a lien on you, your driver's license is being taken away, the attorney general or the sheriff is after you for not showing up for jury duty. Some problem that creates a sense that you need to deal with this right away. And then they want you to deal with it quickly by sending money or information to them.
They don't want you to stop and think and say, maybe I should call my bank using the number I usually call.
That's right. And what we tell folks at the Attorney General's office, the best thing is not to answer such calls. But if you do and you suspect anything, immediately terminate the call. Terminate the call, because legitimate institutions like Champlain National Bank, other banks, the IRS, they do not call you up asking for your personal information. They have that information. They will send you a letter. So if it's coming over the phone, one, you don't know where that's coming from. Anyone these days can purchase a machine that will put a fake caller ID number up so that you have no idea who's calling you. At the AG's office, we say that the phone is a one-way street. You should use it when you're calling out. You could call Champlain National Bank or your own bank at the number that you have for them. But if you receive a call coming in, you have no idea whether it's coming from Willsboro, New York City, Montreal, or somewhere around the world.
And it seems a lot of us, talking to colleagues here at Mountain Lake PBS, talking to a lot of people, we seem to be getting these calls almost daily now from all over the country.
I even on my phone at the Attorney General's office, I'm regularly getting calls on my official AG line. Folks across the country trying to sell me something, trying to urge me to respond immediately.
And you mentioned that oftentimes it may appear as a local number within your area code.
Yes,
and
that's right.
This is where the scammers, it's known as spoofing, where they can use a number from within your area code, and it makes you think, well, this is coming from here in the region or here in town, so it may be legitimate.
Well, that's what they would like you to think. But what we tell folks is if it's an incoming call, you have no idea where it's really coming from or who really is on the other end. So if you have any doubt, if you think that your bank might be calling you, say hang up, and then use the number that you have to call Champlain National Bank or whatever bank you have, or the IRS, and they will give you the real story. And it's almost always that we would not call you and ask you for personal information.
Is that the case for Champlain National Bank? You don't call customers saying, we need you to either give us information or we need you to make payments. You really don't do transactions over the phone.
No, Glenn's absolutely right. We have that information. We would not call asking for it. As he indicated, the back of the card has a number. So if anyone has a question, look at most cards issued, have a number right on the back. Use that number to call back if you receive one of those, and just check and say, hey, I received this. I'm calling the number on the back of my card. Should I respond to this? And in most cases, it's going to be no, absolutely not.
Does the bank sometimes call a customer for other reasons, or would more times than not, would it be done by mail?
Well, we could send calls out. Our fraud detection systems that we do have may see some activity. If they see activity that they want to question, they will call or contact you, whether it's a text or an email or something to say, but they're not going to ask you for that type of information. They're not going to ask for your card number or your PIN. They're going to say, could you please verify these transactions? Did you do these transactions? That's more to protect the consumer and ourselves, but they're not going to ask for that personal identifier information.
Some banks are doing that now, or maybe several banks are doing that, where they will send a text to customers, and customers know this is coming. They sign up for it, and to let you know that your card is being used, and to let you look at it and say, I'm not making that charge right now. That's a case of fraud. So the banks will send out text messages to customers if they suspect that some activity may be happening.
And customers, we have that feature where customers can sign up for it and say, I'd like to know if my card's being used, certain thresholds, and then they will be notified every time the card is used. And they can, and again, there's so many ways today to keep an eye on your account between mobile devices and online banking, and we always recommend look at your statements at the end of the month. It's very important to look at your statements or look online and say, does something look not right, and then let us know.
And in this day and age, most people can go online and look at their statement in their bank account, so they can check it almost daily online.
Absolutely.
To see if something's been charged to their card, if something's irregular.
Yes, and we recommend they do that. People should really keep an eye on their accounts today.
And in the cases of phones, Glenn, they should do the same thing with their phone bills. They should scour their phone bill and really go over it with a fine-tooth comb.
Often what we've seen is that fraudulent charges will be added to a phone bill as well. So if you have an account of any sort, whether it be bank, credit card, phone, go through that statement at the end of the month.
We've seen cases, and this brings up a scam that's out there right now that a number of people have been hearing about and getting. It's the "Can you hear me" scam, where you get the phone call, it's a recorded message, and the operator on the other end asks, "Can you hear me okay?" Tell us about this scam and why you should not say, "Yes, I can hear you okay."
We've seen this many times at the Attorney General's office. They will record your voice saying yes, and then authorize transactions. And when you say, "I never purchased that," they'll say, "We have you recorded. We asked you, did you want to purchase this device for $2,000? And you said yes." The best thing to do is if it's a call, not a response to a call that you've made, hang up right away, terminate the call, and then you call out. You call out. And the other thing that happens is even once in a while, you will accidentally give out that kind of information. And if that happens, the question is what to do. And if you think it's related to your bank, call your bank right away. But otherwise, call us at the Attorney General's office, and we can advise you on some ways to deal with and detect identity theft, which may be happening.
And you have information that you can give out
Yes,
to customers?
That's right.
We will, at the end, wrap up with a number of websites where people can go to find out this information. Also, the Better Business Bureau is a great consumer friend as far as offering sites where they can go to get these tips
Yes.
to protect themselves. And
Absolutely, and what we're expecting to recur, and it comes up annually, are IRS frauds, where you supposedly are getting a call from the IRS saying that you owe this money and we're going to put a lien on your property, we're going to seize your bank account unless you make a payment right now. That's that sense of urgency. There's a problem, a sense of urgency, and there's secrecy, because they want you to make that payment in a way that is not easily detectable. They're not going to ask you to use your credit card. They're going to ask for a Western Union payment or some sort of money card payment so that it can't be traced. So a real problem, urgency, and then secrecy. If you hear any of those going on, end it right away.
And another red flag, paying in gift cards or iTunes cards is a big one now.
Yes.
That should be a real red flag,
Yes.
that this is not legit.
That's right. It's that secrecy element. Whereas legitimate businesses, they will allow you to charge your bank account, et cetera. But even so, if you have not made the phone call yourself going out, don't give that information out. Again, if you are receiving a call, you just don't know where it's coming from.
And we've heard this IRS scam has been going on for a number of years now. Like you said, they threaten to put a lien on your home, they threaten to arrest you.
Yes.
They will not call. The IRS will not call you if you have unpaid taxes.
That's absolutely right. They will send you letters, but they will not call you. So, but if you have any doubt, end the call. Call the IRS. They have numbers that you can look up and ask them about your account. They will deal with it. But they will not call you asking for your information or asking you to make a payment over the phone.
Phishing scams are nothing new. Email has been the common way to try to reach out to victims over the past 10, 15 years or so. Are we seeing a shift in that now? Are they not using email as much, and are they using text messages and phones more?
I think that's the case, because many people realize how email can be abused. And so first, young people don't use email very much anymore. They use text messaging. And the elderly, who are often the target of scams, much prefer the phone. They don't like email, and so they're much more likely to inadvertently give out important information over the phone.
Do you have much success tracking down and catching and prosecuting the scammers?
Quite frankly, no. They know that we have very good law enforcement in New York, and so you may think that you're dealing with a New York number, a local number, or somewhere in the state, but it's most likely elsewhere in the United States or over the border in Canada or in India or another English-speaking country around the world. Phone rates are so low that these scams can be carried out from anywhere. And unfortunately, we don't have the reach of our long arm across borders to go after them. So the best tool is to prevent this from happening in the first place.
Steve, we were chatting a little earlier. You mentioned that in past years, scammers would use skimmers, where they would install equipment and then they would catch you, scanning your card, and that's how they would get your information. But now with the advent of the chip card, they've had to become creative and find new ways to try to rip you off.
Right. As technology continues to improve and it's harder for them to get that information, they're actually going back to really a simpler way, which is really the social engineering we've been talking about here, and going right after the individuals.
And we're talking about your bank, but several banks in the area have been targeted. This isn't just Champlain National.
Oh yes, no one's really immune to it. We've talked to several financial institutions. Everyone's really seeing it. We've talked to our regulators and also law enforcement, and it's pretty widespread actually throughout the nation. It's really everywhere.
And they don't have a list of your customers. They're calling numbers from your bank and other banks, and people who aren't customers of Champlain National Bank are getting these texts as well.
Yeah, it has. They have no idea who they're reaching out to. They have no idea if it is a Champlain National Bank customer or not. They're just putting it out there, blanketing the area and hoping that a few of them happen to be Champlain National Bank customers who will respond. We've actually had some customers that weren't even Champlain National Bank customers that actually responded to it and then called us, and we said, well, you really need, to your point, Glenn, you need to contact your financial institution because they now have your card data. related to that financial institution.
You mentioned you think more and more people are catching on and they're wary of this now. For those folks who do give out the information, what happens if their cards are compromised and if the thieves are able to steal money and apply charges to their cards? What happens?
If they do know they've been party to this, they should contact us immediately, as quickly as possible, so that we can shut the card down, issue them a new one. If for some reason they don't, or the transactions go through, the consumer has zero liability, so the money is put back in their account.
So the banks, though, take the hit.
The banks take the hit, absolutely.
And is this something for you folks and other banks? Have you, unfortunately, with the scams being so prevalent right now, are you taking quite a hit from these scams?
We have seen some. Fortunately, it's been relatively small because, again, a lot of the systems we have in place, we're able to detect it even before they call us, and we'll shut it down, or we can shut down a certain area, whether it's a state or a type of merchant. We see those transactions and we actually stop that, and then we reach out to the customer.
And Glenn, it's not just banks. National Grid utilities have also been targeted.
Any institution that might generate concern or anxiety for you. In the winter, a utility calling and saying, we're going to shut off your gas or your electricity unless you make a payment immediately. That will get your attention. Or most of us drive. If you get a call and they say they're from DMV and you have so many outstanding parking tickets, we're going to pull that immediately. We need an immediate payment. There's that sense of urgency. They want you to respond. The more that you sense that urgency, the more cautious you should be.
Utilities will never call and demand payments over the phone. Motor vehicles will never call and demand payment over the phone.
I don't want to say never, but almost never. And in any event, if you are not sure whether it's legitimate, you say, thank you for alerting me, you hang up, then you make the call to your utility, your bank, DMV, or whoever you think it is. And 99.9% of the time they will say, no, that's not us, that's a scammer. And so that's what we want folks to do. If you get an incoming call with a sense of urgency, secrecy, and some problem that you need to deal with right away, it's almost certainly a scam. Hang up, and if you have any doubt, then call back.
One of the other scams that we've been hearing about for a few years now is called the grandparent scam, where scammers will target usually elderly people and tell them that a grandchild has been detained, arrested, kidnapped, and that they must pay to secure their release, pay their bail.
That's right. And what happens is that the grandparent thinks, this can't be my grandchild, but then the person on the other end of the line knows all of the family members, knows where the student goes to school, knows the name of their mom and dad. How do they get this information? It's publicly available on Facebook or other social media. Once again, when someone's calling into you, you don't know who that is. If you think it might be your grandchild, hang up and then you call on the number you have for your grandchild.
Which should be a red flag for many people in this case, is that they're often demanding that the payment be cash or, again, gift cards or iTunes cards mailed to a certain location.
Yes, or Western Union.
Or you have to call them back and give them the iTunes card numbers.
That's right. They do not want it from an easily traceable means, like your legitimate credit card.
We've heard from Plattsburgh PD and other folks that sometimes the mailboxes that they're told to send them to are here in the North Country, in Plattsburgh. Is that because it's likely across the border, the scammers?
That's right. Plattsburgh, for better or worse, along with Champlain, Rouse's Point, and others, are very close to a major metropolitan area in Canada, to Montreal. And so there will often be drop boxes here to which money can be sent. Folks figure it's a New York address. The New York State Attorney General's watching out for it. We have good police here in this area. But in point of fact, that money is being picked up and hand carried across the border. And once it's out of the country, it's very difficult, if not impossible, to recover.
In some cases, are you able to intercept?
Very rare. I can count on one hand the number of times we've been able to do that, simply because as soon as a scammer gets wind that law enforcement is on their trail, they immediately shut down and they move it to another place along the northern border.
The Better Business Bureau, if you go there, you can report scams, but they also have the National Do Not Call Registry. And let me ask you about that, if that is even worth signing up for, and does it have any teeth?
I'm signed up for the new Do Not Call Registry, and I get dozens of calls because the problem is that the legitimate companies, they honor that. But keep in mind that charities, political organizations and advocacy organizations are not bound by that. So you're going to get calls from them anyway. The other thing is that scammers, they're illegal to begin with. So they are going to ignore this. And one of the advantages, however, of the Do Not Call list is if you've signed up for it and you're on the Do Not Call list and you get a call, it increases the likelihood that it is a scammer.
Glen Michaels, Assistant Attorney General, Steve Cacchio with Champlain National Bank. Thank you, gentlemen, for being with us.
And thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
Plattsburgh City Police are also trying to protect people from getting robbed or ripped off when it comes to items that they buy or sell to or from people they meet online on sites like Craigslist. Sometimes those exchanges can be sketchy. So Acting Police Chief Mike Branch has now designated a couple of parking spaces outside the police station for those kinds of transactions. You'll see the signs for the Internet Exchange Zone. The 2 parking spots are well lit and there are surveillance cameras. The chief says there haven't been complaints or problems locally, but he says it does offer a safe place for sellers or buyers who may now be using other public places like retail parking lots. And again, if you've been the victim of any of these scams that we've been talking about, if you've given out personal information, your bank card or PIN numbers, or even if you've sent payment to the scammers, you're not alone. It has happened to hundreds of people here in the North Country. And if you haven't already, you should reach out to your bank, to your utility, or the New York Attorney General's office. For the AG, you can see the toll-free number and web address there on your screen. You can also report scams to the Better Business Bureau, which tracks what areas are targeted. The Better Business Bureau also can help you sign up with the National Do Not Call Registry. And even though the caller may threaten you, saying you'll be arrested or a lien put on your property, they're trying to scare you into giving up information or sending money. It is a scam. Here's where you can go to report it to the IRS.
Mountain Lake Journal on Mountain Lake PBS is made possible in part by
Northline Utilities creates employment and training opportunities for North Country residents with projects that build community and social infrastructure. We're family-focused and education-oriented. Power is our business and pride is our choice.
Knight Automotive, featuring a full selection of the entire Buick lineup in stock, and our world-class rated General Motors technician, Terry Relation, with 40 years of experience. Knight Automotive, Route 3, Plattsburgh.
CV Tech, did you know? High school students can earn Regents, advanced placement, and upwards to 30 college credits towards your advanced degree. Enrollment is available through your high school guidance office. CV Tech has 23 career and technical education programs. CV Tech will change your mind.
If you haven't been able to jot down all the numbers or web addresses, you can find them on our website at mountainlake.org. You can also watch this program again online anytime. And you can also suggest topics for future forum series. I'm Tom Hellick. For all of us here at Mountain Lake PBS, thanks for watching. We'll see you back here next week for Mountain Lake Journal.